जी कामरे साहब.
Second line, we may seek education wherever.
Yeah, you want to tell about the Khartar Farman 2000?
Yeah, so this Farman is 1994 London.
It was a vast area, which is good for the bad. So how to pick?
So this is 1994 London, and then October 2000 in Khartar Chamasana, Molapa has a similar Farman, in which Molapa says that you must seek knowledge wherever it may be available. Seek those classes that one teaches the religion. Bhagavad, the word used is class, what we use over here. Meaning, go to those classes wherever it may be. Don't wait for people to come to you and teach. You need to seek the knowledge and find those places where knowledge is given. So it is upon us to seek those classes. Now, how do we know which is good or bad, right or wrong? How do we know that? Right? Isiliye, it is so important for us that we should have such a understanding of our true knowledge. If someone comes to you and there are warning points, stop points. If someone comes to you, and this is number one, and I don't know if you had mentioned this in this group of class, if I, and I'm just talking about me now, sit over here and say, this is my knowledge, you should look for the door and run.
Yes.
If anyone comes to you, anyone, and says, this is my knowledge, you need to run. Because then you know there is something wrong. That's number one. Number two, when you are seeking knowledge, the person who's giving you the knowledge, first of all, will be logical. It will make sense to you. It will have good Quranic, good Gnan, good Faramin references. And when you ask question, they will not shy away from it. And that's how you will know that this is the knowledge that I want, and this is the knowledge I do not want. And when someone asks you a question, and now we are talking about all of us combinedly, if you don't know the answer, meaning if you think that if I give this answer to this person, he may not understand, or if he has more questions, I will not be able to answer anymore. Then it's okay to say that, let me find the answer for you. One, let me find someone to give you the answer. So you either come and find the answer, or you find the person who can give the answer. And then you go home and then start thinking, this knowledge that I received today, this is the knowledge of the standard that I'm looking for. Does this knowledge is consistent with the Imam's Farman? Is this knowledge inconsistent with Quran or Gnan? Does this knowledge make sense? Logic. Remember that our mazhab jo hai, it sits on intellect. There is no hocus pocus. Yeah, blind faith, it was good when we were children. We are no longer children. Physically, we are not children. Intellectually, we are not children. Meaning, our intellect needs to say, yes, this is the right knowledge. That's how you will know this is the right knowledge. In the beginning, you may not know. We all have done that, I'm sure. We seek knowledge. We go here, we go there, and then one day we get somewhere and say, this is the one I was looking for. When your heart says, this is the knowledge I was looking for, that's the knowledge you were looking for. Until then, you're going to be going around and around. Because your heart will never be satisfied. And third criteria, I would say, and I don't know, this may not be 100% there, because we also tell you a story once in a while. If they are giving you only the stories and no knowledge, that's not the knowledge you're looking for. That's just the stories. The stories are for whom? For children. We are not children. So in this class, if you hear a story, it would be for us to understand the higher concept of it. And that's the only time you're going to hear this story, otherwise it'll be raw knowledge. The knowledge you can take and then you can digest and understand yourself. It'll be raw knowledge. And that's how you know this is the right knowledge and this is not the right knowledge. You decide that with your own intellect. How happy do you feel? How hungry do you feel when you are away from this knowledge? Compared to, we have all heard so many voices, so many lectures, so many online things. But if we don't read that, we don't care, we don't miss it. But when we are away from classes and when we are away from the true knowledge, what happens to our heart, our mind? We are constantly thinking of it and we wanted to get there as fast as possible. Right? That's how we will know.
So,
I think the answer is right there. We may seek education wherever it may be, and we will always be in keeping with one of the fundamental premises of our tariqah, which is the development of. So the answer is right there.
Yeah.
Human intellect.
As far as seeking the knowledge.
yes.
Yeah.
But yeah. Ji Ali sir.
No, recently, like so many farmers, like Hazimam is making, and he's constantly asking or saying the same thing, repeat over. And he says that people in Jamaat always says that why do I make people laugh, or why I make Jamaat laugh, and what makes the special father, I'm your father and I'm going to see my children happy. ये किस तरह point करते हैं हासिल बार-बार क्यों repeat कर रहे हैं? Why he's doing that? Purposely he's doing that in so many formats, and he's doing it so often now.
Yeah, compared to before.
He's constantly doing it.
We actually, you won't believe it that this, when we got this question, we were talking about it, and that how do we willingly do that? It seems that if you think 50 years ago or 60 years ago, everywhere it was just sadness. If you go around, there's misery. Like look at the media or movies made or songs made, everywhere it was misery. It was always for pain. And then suddenly the change came in, and everywhere we have now comedies and happiness, and it's just, it seems that the whole world has changed, shifted to happiness. And Imam is also talking about us being happy. He wants us to be happy and smiling. The knowledge which was given to us, I would say 50 years ago, 60 years ago, it was all based on fear. If you don't do this, this will be the punishment. We had no free will. It was like control. You got to do this, otherwise you're gone. Due to us not having worldly education, not understanding the power of making choice, we were not given free will, because we did not understand the free will. So it was based on fear. Though we had Rabi Basri so many years ago, but in our Jamaat we are talking about, back from Pakistan, India, right? That it was all based on fear, blind faith, and doing things just because you are told to do so. When Imam focused on the worldly education, with this worldly education, we have become accountable for our actions. We have learned accountability. In this world, if I will not go to work, nobody will pay me. If I don't go to Jamaat Khana, I cannot expect salvation. Do you understand what I'm saying? Blind faith, we did it. To some extent it was right. But right now, Imam says that you make a choice with happiness. Imam wants us to be happy. Happy with love and ishq, Physical world will be the happiness, spiritual world will be happiness. When we are happy, we do things with love. So Imam is trying to teach us to dance, to listen to songs, to play, to be alive, physically, spiritually, intellectually. Be happy. Then can only we be one with Imam. So there is a huge concept behind Imam saying we need to be happy.
It is the Imam who brings whatever changes in the time and the era. Imam brought this new changes. Say, be happy. Be happy. And I'm happy with you. As a parent, if I'm happy, you are happy. Again, look at the Farman. And one of the Farman I was just reading yesterday, the Sultan Muhammad Shah says, and I don't know what is the English word for it, कि तुम्हारा सर माथे ओला लोहा ना मारवा पड़ता.
Like iron bar. If you don't do bandagi, if you don't do bandagi, then you'll be die, and there you'll be hit by iron rods. That's what Sultan Muhammad says in Farman.
Right? 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And Mullah says, Abad Ibadat, don't fear. There's nothing to lose.
There's no failure.
There's no failure.
Yeah.
Look at this. Right? Because we were like a child, so बच्चे को you scare them to make sure they stay on the right path. Like you tell your child, it's dark outside, don't go outside.
तो आप जो कह रहे हो कि अगर पहले जो है वो इमाम ने जो है वो रिलीजन जो हमको समझाया वो बताया कि फियर बेस्ड हो, ये बताना चाह रहे हैं
क्योंकि हम बच्चे की तरह थे ना, तो बच्चे की तरह
क्या वो रहीम नहीं था?
लिसन, रहीम ना होता तो हमको क्यों बोलता कि आप रिलीजन फॉलो करो. अभी मैं आपको एग्जांपल देता हूँ, and I think this example is given in this one. We are talking about Sultan Muhammad Shah and Mullah time, right? Forget about all the other imams before. Look at this scenario. A true child with a mother going to school in the morning. Right? Think of back home where mother is taking us to school. Two child. एक बच्चा अच्छा यूनिफॉर्म पहना है, backpack, happily going to school. Oh, I'm going to go to school. I have new shoes, I have a new. Same family, एक बच्चा जो है सीधे हाथ के ऊपर रो रहा है, crying, screaming, I don't want to go to school. But mom is dragging him and walking this child too. And she takes both of them to school. Is mother cruel to this child and merciful to this child? No, mother is merciful to both of them. One is acting like a child, one is acting like an adult. They are both children. We are all children. Because we acted like a child, Imam was dragging us, taking us to where we need to go with those kind of Farman. Today, we are like this child. So what is Imam doing? He's treating us like adults now. It is us. Imam is always saying. Now the example of sun. Sun is always bright and shining. It is the earth that changes its face or raat ho jati hai. It's not the sun. It's not the Imam that changes. Imam was always like that. But because we were children, he was treating us like a child. Because we are adult, he's treating us like adult. That's the difference. उसकी मर्सी में कभी भी फर्क नहीं आता है. You see that? He was merciful when he was dragging us to make sure we get the education we need to get. We get the salvation we need to get. We do the ibadat we need to do. The son, let's take this topic of the son. Sultan Muhammad Shah. In his time, Mukhi Kamriya Sahib and the Amaldaran, they will go from town to town, small places in India, Pakistan, even in Africa, and they will come and say, okay, give us this Hisab Kitab. How much rice did you grow? How many weeds did you grow? How many trees and fruits do you have? What was the earning of that? They will calculate all that and say, okay, your dasan is 12 rupees. Give me 12 rupees dasan. If they would not have 12 rupees, you know what would happen to them? You know the whip?
Yeah, they used to beat them up.
Chabuk lagta hai. Now look at the Imam's time. What happened? Not a single farman on the sun. Not a single farman in 62 years on the sun. That's the difference between child and adult. बच्चे को हम क्या करते हैं? ये कर वरना चाटा लगता है. Adult को क्या करते हैं? If you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. You see the difference? So वो ऐसा नहीं था कि इमाम, हाँ?
Yes.
Because of the time and era.
Because of
Yes.
the time and era, and then
Because of our own intellect growth, right?
because Islam is a dynamic religion, right? In Sultan Badsha's time, the Indo-Pak Jamaat was not educated. Remember that. We were not educated worldly wise. So we were taught religion with very strict rules, in very controlled fashion. And then the focus was get education, get education. As soon as we became intellectually mature, worldly wise, things have changed in religion too. Because now we have grown.
Let me come back to that. Why so strict on the sun? What was the reason? And then Imam himself, Imam Sultan Bashar ki baat kar raha hu, he explains. When Mukhi Kamriya came to Imam and said, Imam, our Jamaat is so poor, they cannot give the sun. And Imam says, don't they eat? They say, yeah, but they only have one rotli to eat, one single bread to eat. Imam said, tell them, give me the quarter of the bread if they cannot give the son. And Mukhi Kamre was like, really, Mullah? You want to take quarter bread out of their mouth? They only have one single bread? And Imam explained, he said, if they don't give me their quarter of the bread, how can I give them rizq and barakat? How can I give them rizq and barakat? Tell them to give me quarter, so I may give. Do you see the mercy? This is the mercy of Imam. And this is the law of Allah, the law of nature. And two examples in Quran. Oh, you help me, Allah says. Allah needs our help. Allah says, you help me, so I may help you. You give me the bread, so I may give you more bread. ठीक है? अब आ जाए नेचर के ऊपर. A dust. Dust also have a soul. But it's not a human soul. So how does a dust progress spiritually? If dust wanted to progress spiritually, the dust sacrifices itself into vegetation. And vegetation wanted to spiritually progress, vegetation sacrificed itself into animal. If animal wanted to progress spiritually, they sacrifice themselves by giving their meat and milk to the human, and eventually the dust, the vegetation and the animal all becomes part of the human. And if humans sacrifice themselves into the higher being, may it be angels, arifin or imam, then they can also get into higher being. But they have to sacrifice themselves first. In this sacrifice there is a lot of pain, physically, spiritually and intellectually. लेकिन इस पेन के अंदर जो फायदे हैं, अगर हम उसको keep in mind रखें, then we will understand the mercy of Allah. Because He teaches us. And she just had that Farman, the Quranic quote that says, I will, ऐसा नहीं बोला I may, I will test you in 5 things. Test is upon us. How do we take it and sacrifice ourselves into the next being? Or we can cry about it and don't do anything about it. 2 kind of losses. We lost whatever the test was, and we also lost the chance and opportunity to move forward. Okay, good question, very good question. So let's look at this one. So we give the son to Imam, and zakat is the Shariat-e-Ilahi, meaning the principle or the law of Allah. We think that we give the son to Imam, and if this is the law of Allah, who does Imam give the son to? Doesn't Imam have to give the son? Have you ever thought about it? We giving the son to Imam. Who's Imam giving the son to?
आई थिंक एक कुरान में 10 जगह जो है वो उसके जिक्र है कि प्रॉफिट को बताया गया था कि नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम को कि दीन के दुश्मनों को यानी वो एक पूरा सेक्शन है कुरान के अंदर उसमें कि कहाँ जो है ना वो तुमको जो ज़कात आती है तुमको कैसे स्पेंड करने की है इसका कुरान में पूरा सेक्शन आता है
वो सही है लेकिन I'm talking about does Imam give the son? Because if this is the law of Allah to give the आपको पता है जो अल्लाह के सुतून है the principles है prayer, give the son, do jihad, right? Those are the principles. So when does Imam or who does Imam give the son to, or does Imam give the son? Imam also gives the son, just like we give the son. So the son is of the two kind. One, you give the son to upper level, which is from Mu'min to Murshid. You give the son to upper level. On upper level, you give the son to the lower level. Meaning, the son giving and taking is in a circle. It's not on a vertical line. Normally, when we think of things, we are thinking either on linear line or we are thinking on a vertical line. But actually, it is on a circle. We give the son to the Imam, and I don't know if your REC teachers at that time, in our old times, they will say that Imam will take the son, he will eat, the energy that he will create physically, he will use that energy for the Jamaat. And that is the son to the Jamaat. That's how he would explain to us when we were in 4th, 5th grade in REC. So he had put that thought in our mind, and even at that time, that how does Imam gives back? Now today, Aj, when we give the son to the Imam, Imam returns the son back to the Jamaat, and all those needs the son money. The one that Khyal mentioned, that some people give the son outside. For us, the order is in the Quran, a Nabi, take the zakat from them and in return pray for them so they may progress. Right? That's the Farman of Ilahi. For the Prophet, same goes for the Imam. Due to this part, we give the son to the Imam. And then Imam returns the son back to the Jamaat. जब इमाम दसम देता है ना तो इमाम यूं करके देता है, यानी कि he returns those favor to us by giving his dasam to us. First to the Jamaat, second to the Ummah, third to the all humanity. He also gives dasam because that's the law of nature, law of Allah. Okay? Alright. And second part of your was that do we give dasam in Jamaat Sana or can we use it somewhere else? Was that the question?
Just the idea that when we give the song, we have to come to Jamaat and submit it, right? To like the Muslim.
Right.
So we have knowledge.
Or in the knowledge. Okay.
Where do we submit that knowledge in the
Right, and how come we don't register ourselves with the Tariqa board or REC or IIS or something? Okay. Because there are two ways of, at least two ways, I'm sure there are more, of giving knowledge. On the lower level, meaning on the Jamaati level, if you want to give basic knowledge to the Jamaat, then you have ALWAAZ, you have an institution, and all of that, so they may give knowledge to the Jamaat. But when Jamaat is ready to go to the university, what do? You also need teachers on that level, so they may go to university. If we say that the ALWAAZ are teaching the school, because ALWAAZ cannot sit or stand on that podium in Jamaatana and talk about this knowledge that have been given here. He can't. You know why? Because all those people are sitting there may not be on the same level. They are not on the same level, right? We know it. So how do you give this knowledge there? If you give this knowledge there, what will happen? Two things will happen. One, confusion. Second,
Value.
they will not value it. When you don't value it, what are you going to do? आप उसको मट्टी में मिलाएंगे. It will be worth a dust.
Yeah.
That's all it will be worth. The higher knowledge will be worth only a dust. Because you have no value of it. Because you don't have understanding of it. Because you don't even have the basic knowledge yet. So Imam has, with that farman, you seek wherever this knowledge is available. Meaning there is knowledge available from more than one place. Everybody has to give zakat of their knowledge. If you have that basic knowledge and that's where you wanted to give your zakat, you do that. This is their free will, that's what they choose to do. This is their khidmat. So khidmat could be of the volunteer standing outside in the sun and a cold and a rain, or volunteers sitting right in front of Mukhi Sahib, or volunteers standing in shoes company. Different kind of khidmat. And the knowledge and the zakat are different kind on different levels. So if you wanted to teach on the higher level, what do? You cannot do this in Jamaatana. You can't. Because everybody is not at the same level. Think of this class. When we started 10 weeks ago, where were we? What were we talking about? And what are we talking about today? So, unless we have a wise in Jamaatana every day, then you bring the entire Jamaat from the 0 level to the 12th grade and take them to university, yeah, then it could be done. But then you have to have a wise every day. I don't know very many people will be showing up to Jamaatana.
But
Right?
so there are
Because they don't have value of it.
Yeah.
So why would they show up?
So there are two parts. One is we get title of a teacher, of a scholar, of a missionary, of IAS faculty. These are title khidmats. There are laws and restrictions, uniformed, organized khidmat. And it matters that you are known, you are recognized, you are respected. So it is knowledge based, but there is a physical aspect in it. Then there is another level of khidmat which our dais did. They were not even known by dais. Even our Peer Sabzali, he was not known as Peer until he died. You do this khidmat quietly. You gather with your different seekers and you share knowledge, you exchange knowledge, you learn. With higher level of spiritual knowledge, the condition is applied on each one of us. That until the permission is not given by the Imam gives permission inside you. Until permission is not given to you, you keep roza. You don't talk about the knowledge. You're not ready to give the soon. When you're still trying to earn, establish yourself, find your footing on the ground, you don't talk about it until you become mature. And then you serve the Imam spiritually. The way Imam has said in Majalis that you are my dais, you are like roots of a tree. You are in Jamaat, but nobody knows you. You are in Jamaat, but nobody knows you. But it is because of the roots this tree is extending. So that's a different direction of khidmat. It is non-titled, unknown. You are the ones who say, I am the dust under the feet of moments. It's a different kind of khidmat, where there's no recognition, no value, no worth. Outside, nobody knows you. But those who are seekers, they know that we all work together and seek knowledge. So these are two different directions, two different kinds of, giving khidmat. What matters is that we are doing this khidmat. All these things are applied at ranks. what rank you are to do what. Alhamdulillah, we are all dais today. The next level is of peer. Can you imagine that? Imam has elevated all of us, regardless of those who are seeking knowledge or not seeking knowledge. We all have become dai. Dai's job is to do dawat ka kaam. Where are we doing dawat ka kaam? For me, I would say I'm giving it to my soul because I'm so hungry, so thirsty. I'm still talking about loving Imam. I have not even learned that. I'm so feeble, so weak that I do not even know how to have ishq of Imam in my heart. How can I teach? So do you see how it is? It matters that we first learn. When we are learning, we are absorbing, we are fasting. A time comes when we start talking. And this route, there is no title. There is no recognition. We are the volunteers. Remember the story you have told us that one of the non-title murid of Imam, lover of Imam, he says, Mawla, everybody knows you. Everybody is all their amaldarans. Who am I? Where am I? You know what Imam says? Imam says, do you want to see where your khidmat is? And he was an ilmi khidmat guzar. Imam opens up his jacket and there is a badge there. Imam says, this is you. And you are close to my heart. And nobody sees you.
It's like an example of a dai, right? Or the fidai.
Fidai.
Then Imam gives you khidmat and nobody knows and you cannot even tell anybody.
In fact, people will talk bad about you. Because they don't understand you. These are tests, right? People, because they don't understand what you are doing. Why are you so different? Why do we keep bothering you, talking bad about you, and it doesn't matter to you? This knowledge has made us so humble and so grateful to Mawla that because we have found the path to be near to Him. And we quietly will keep doing. So we look different in Jamaat. We are unknown, we are quiet because we are seeking His love only.
So we give our physical dasam to Imam. So we earn from outside and we bring dasam to Imam. But knowledge is from the Imam. We are earning this from the Imam. So you cannot give this back to Imam, right? Because he has given you that knowledge. But he also, when he was giving you that knowledge, said, when you have this knowledge and when you're ready to give the son, give to my children. And the key word is who deserve.
Yes.
Only give to the deserving. Do not waste my knowledge on undeserving. So remember, the son, when we earn from outside, we give to Imam. But when you earn from the Imam, you have to give to his murid who is deserving. And you have to have that eye and understanding that who deserves this ilm. Otherwise, in Urdu we have a beautiful word, wo matti mein mila denge. I don't know, whatever the English translation of that is. They will just put that in a dust. It'll be worth only a dust to them. You don't want to take Imam's knowledge and put it in a dust. You don't want to do that.
And believe me, it will happen to you too. What he is saying, it will happen to you too. Because
it will happen eventually.
Because remember, in the beginning, what we were talking about, that we will have that balance where we will be able to see the weightage of the knowledge and the information. We will learn that because we are developing that eye and that intellect. A time will come when you are talking, you will be saying, this is not the right place that I should open up my mouth. Because it will not be valued. The worth will not be seen. So I should be quiet. And you will see that all this will happen to you too.
And my question actually was, I know we have the Ginans, we have Farmans, we have Mullah's Farmans and everything. Obviously right now, being that time of Jubilee time and everything, we get more Farmans because the Mullah is visiting everywhere. But there's another place where I think Mullah is giving us guidance, and I want to ask a question on that. Mullah gets a lot of, being a global icon, he gets a lot of awards. He gets a lot of, he's called out by the non-Ismaili Jamaat, non-Muslim Jamaat everywhere. So the information that he's sharing in those speeches and lectures, how should we be looking at that? Is that a farman type for us, and there is knowledge in there for us also, and not just for the outside public?
Okay, very good. I love this question. Remember, for a murid, Imam's every single word. Does not matter if he's at the university level, at the government level, or at the Jamati level. Every single word he utters is a farman for us, a guidance for us, a roadmap for us, a wisdomful word for us. Imam is not sharing any information with anybody but his wisdom. And I'll give you a very good example. At the Azad University, the very first congregation, Imam is sharing this wonderful wisdom that it is the intellect that separates you from a human animal. I mean, look at this phrase. Imam had never said this in any farman, but he has said this in university level. Because his word is farman for us. There are people that we know of, and we're going to meet one of those lady, inshallah, in a couple of days. She really emphasized that we as an Ismaili and the lover and the follower of the Imam, we should follow Imam's every single lecture and the farman that is available to us. Doesn't matter where he has delivered them. And then read those, then you understand those, and then you follow it. And she does that. She is a researcher, and she researches and she reads and she brings the knowledge or the wisdomful word of the Imam from those lectures and deliveries that Imam has made all over the world. Yes, last night we were talking about the Imam. Wherever Imam goes, he does two things. One, he also, with his action and his words, preaches how Islam is, the religion of peace. And how does he do it? Very subtle way. By starting his lecture with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Doesn't matter if it's in Russia, Canada, or any university level or anywhere in the world. He uses that. Other thing Imam does, in a very subtle way, he always quotes a Quranic ayah. Especially Surah Nisa ayat number 1. That we are all from a single soul. So what is he doing? He is bringing their attention to the bright side of the Islam. Meaning, he is teaching while he is standing on the podium to the world. But first of all, he is teaching us how to present your religion to the world. That's the teaching for us in that. Okay? So it is format for us, every single word. G.
So going back to that concept, when as far as when we had like different dyes at one time, and so I know it's according to the rank and so sometimes they did not know ahead of time that they're going to be given that title. So during that time, they were sharing the esoteric knowledge or the true knowledge. So did they have any connection with Imam at that time, or not necessarily as far as sharing of that knowledge is concerned?
Okay, physically, maybe or maybe not. Physically, okay? So if you take the example of Pir Nasir Khusro, he only met Imam one time for, let's say, 1 hour. Only one time in his lifetime. No time before that, no time after that. Just one single time. And Imam appoints him, not Dai, but Hujjatul Khursan, meaning the Pir of the greater Badakhshan. From his tradition, from his teaching, today we have 12 million Ismailis. From all the other Pirs, Pir Sadruddin and all the other Pirs that came to Indo-Pak, we have a 2 million Ismailis, 12 million Ismailis. Pirs in touch with Imam, Pir not in touch with Imam. Meaning, they are spiritually connected, not physically. Number one. Number two, when Imam gives you guidance, as she said, when Imam gives you that Amar from inside, Say, okay, this is, you are ready to go and give your knowledge. That time we need to listen to their calling. We have to listen to the calling, otherwise we will miss it. And then you give the knowledge. So there was a calling for Pir Nasir Khusro, same calling for Pir Sadruddin. One in touch physically, one not in touch
And
physically.
same thing with the dais, could be.
Same with the dais
How
and
does the
fidais.
seeker of knowledge know that they have had the calling or not?
You will. So how would it happen? That's what you're asking, right?
How would the seeker know?
Right.
When they're not at that level, how would the seeker know that you're getting it from someone who has had the calling or not?
How do we know if this is the knowledge of Imam? Is it a true knowledge? So when you listen to the knowledge, if it doesn't have balance on or footage on the Faramin, footage on the Quran, footage on the Ginan, if it doesn't make logic to you, if it doesn't make you happy, if it doesn't give you a broader and brighter understanding of the tariqah, then you would know this is not the knowledge from the Imam. Because Imam knowledge is a light for the murid. It should bring you the brightness, the light in your heart. Say, oh, this is the knowledge I was seeking. Because it will make logic to you. That's how you will know.
So your intellect will actually
Accept or not accept.
and it will tell you, truly it will talk to you that yes, this is what I was seeking, and you'll feel undescribable satisfaction in your heart. So he talked about 3 different criteria. I hope we heard that, right? So those 3 criteria, along with that, the way Imam says that you will know it. There will be no doubt in you. When you listen to those knowledge, you will have no doubt. Because your heart and your mind will bear witness to it. This is the true knowledge.